Jurgen, it's obviously a big week ahead. Reflects on the week that's gone first, though. Certainly in the media, there's been a lot of discussion about defensive frailties at Liverpool. Is it a source of frustration for you?
That it's a thing in the media?
Either that it's true or it is in the media. You pick.
Oops. Yeah. Look, as a manager, it's always if you concede goals, how can you be happy about this? But of course, they're all different. Well, thankfully, they are all different. So that's the thing, and I cannot be part of the discussions in the media. I don't want to be part of the discussions, and I don't want to let them grow with the things I say, because you don't need me to make big things of it. You don't need what I say. So that's how it is. So we have to work on all the different things, but it's quite difficult to work a lot on free kicks or on deflected balls in passes in your defense. That's quite difficult. I think for us, and especially for me, the most important thing is that in absolutely most of the situations we are really good in defending. Yesterday we had a little bit of the problem, and I already said it to the boys, and that's very important, and it's a clear rule. The boys are responsible for the good things, I'm responsible for the bad things in the game. And I remember my meeting, and it was a little bit about striking back and showing reaction, and we scored a wonderful 1-0. And then we were really too offensive. So we had nearly no protection, or not how it should be. That didn't produce a lot for the other team, but let them come back a little bit in the game. And so the goals were different, but it was always like it looked like we feel we are only good when we can make high pressure or things like this, but it's not the truth, and we did it already different. But it's a little bit about formation and things, and in this moment we play with 3 real strikers, if you want. I know everybody miss Phil, of course, but it's especially because of how he interprets the role he played. It was very often like a center midfielder or like an 8 when he came in the middle. That means when he plays the pass from there and we lose the ball, then we have already a formation for counter press and things like this. Now we have too many players in the first line. We still create chances with this, but it's of course a little bit too risky. So that's what we have to adapt now. So that's what we know already, what we have to work on. But of course that doesn't mean that it works immediately in the first second, and then you concede these kind of goals. Yeah, the free kick, how I said at the end, and then it's not to defend if you want. Things happen, but and the second goal is unlucky. And you are still in a game in which you are the clear better team, and you create a lot of chances. You had 4 or 5 situations where you could have given a penalty, and that's another part of the truth. But of course, we cannot think too much about this, and then it's a draw. With big part of the game was a good performance again in a very difficult game from the first second on, because a highly motivated, of course, West Ham side. A lot of players came back in their side. 2-1 up against us from the beginning. They thought pretty sure more about defending than about attacking. So it makes the job not easier when you're behind. So and that's the story of the game, and then you have to strike back. I mean, I heard afterwards about that we had kind of a new record of shooting in the box. That's an interesting thing. That's what was my feeling after the game, that we were always in their box, and of course we could have done better there. But how can you get used to be always in the box of the other team in a game like West Ham with that many legs defending? There were a lot of situations. I said with the handball and things like that's only. So you do right, you force these situations, at the end you got not enough for it. In other situations you could have done better. When we are on the crossing position inside the box already, we never forced the own goal if you want, with a hard pass between goalkeeper and their last line and things like this. We're always trying to find our free player. So, how I say, a lot of things for the analyze, but it's only 2 days until the next game, so we cannot make the biggest analyze. We have to adjust and to do a few things and to make a little changes, and then we are in the next game. That's how it is, and it kind of similar, kind of different. Of course, we know we already made our analysis about the Middlesbrough team, their start of play. So a lot of work to do, but not a lot to say, because we are still on a good way. We had 2 games probably which both we should have won. We didn't. That cost us 5 points, if you want. It's our point, but it's our mistake, and so let's carry on and take the good things and sort the not so good things.
I know after the game you were asked about former Loris carriers. Given what you've just said, do you agree with that line of questioning? Do you think it's fair?
I don't care. I have no influence on the questions you ask, and I don't think a second about the questions you ask. When I only can give an answer if I want, and actually I don't want. The pretty simple reason for this: whatever I would say about this would create headlines. The good things, the bad things, everything. And I'm absolutely not interested in created headlines, because we have no time for a thing about this. So you can really write whatever you want. And we have to work. There's nothing to say about. A few things are obvious, a few things are not obvious, a few things are kind of an image, a few things are the truth, a few things are not right, but that's absolutely too much for me to think about. It's working with the players, with the goalkeeper and all the other players, goalkeepers and all the other players, that's all.
But from your perspective, whatever the reason for the goals are, it's not about just one player.
It's never like this, but it's not, again, I have nothing to say about this, but not because I have nothing to say, only because I can't say it in a way that it's useful for us. So that means nothing to say.
Well, Jurgen, 6 points off the lead is Chelsea. Just a word on the title race itself.
It's decided.
Yeah, it's over. How important that gap doesn't get bigger over Christmas?
No idea.
Much bigger.
Now, look, I think it makes absolutely no sense that you count the points between you and other teams in this moment in the season. So I said we lost 5 points in the last 2 games because we were twice the better side, but maybe let them score, so our fault. But nothing else happened. So and you can imagine that we are not happy about this, but not because of Chelsea won their games, because we have absolutely no influence on what they do, or Arsenal won the games or whatever. Until now, we were not the most lucky side in the Premier League with decisions and all that stuff. So that's not. It's only when we watch the other games. It's not that they defend always world class, and that's how it is. You have to do your own thing, and then you have to collect points. And I said it yesterday. I think around the last 10 games, you need to be in a position to fight for something. I think we showed meanwhile that we need to be in a position in the table on the very top, wherever it is, because we are good enough to be there. And only these teams who are there can fight for the very special things in this moment. If the gap is getting bigger because of our results, it's our fault. But we don't think about the distance between us and other teams. We only think about the next game, and then hopefully in a few weeks everything can change in both directions. Why should I think about only one direction? It's all good in the moment. We are not overly happy about our last 2 games, but it's things like this happen, and you only have to be ready for it. If we are not surprised that things like this happen, especially not in the West Ham game. Of course, Bournemouth was not expected, but West Ham was clear that it will be difficult, and if we let them score twice, then it will be much more difficult. That's how it is. But we all can. Only we can sort it, and that's what we are thinking about. That's all, and not distances between us and other teams.
How hard are you working with Michael Edwards, the sporting director, to bring players in January? Is that a priority for you, or are you happy?
That's another question. When the answer doesn't help us, because you are obviously all a little bit obsessed by this. You can imagine that we have not. That if you watch our bench yesterday, very experienced in defense and not in the same way experienced in the offense. If the situation stays like this, it's clear that we have open eyes for everything, but I cannot. That's not the winter transfer market is maybe the most difficult one, because the players you want, the other clubs doesn't want to give you. It's not about money, and the players you don't want, you can have. So that's all. And we are always looking. Maybe it's a surprise, but we work always hard on this part of the business, because we need to have an overview about everything, and that's what we do. But nothing else.
You were talking about, well, you've said today that you don't be part of the discussions in the media about criticism that seems to be coming Karius's way right now. But does it concern you that, I mean, obviously he is your number one. Does it concern you at the moment about what's happening with him? But also, criticism in general, it just seems to be really harsh right now of him and dealing with that criticism and how you handle that criticism.
That's part of our life. So it's like this. I think. How can I say? So first of all, my job is to protect the players as much as I can in different situations. But at the end, they are alone on the pitch, so I cannot. I cannot come with them and say now right and now left. So that we prepare ourselves as good as possible for different situations. So that's completely. It's a normal situation. Criticism from outside. It's normal for me. It's normal for all my players. It's normal for the goalkeepers. That's how it is. We all wish it would be always different, but it is not like this. I'm not surprised about it. I heard in my very first press conference, I spoke a little bit about English media. Obviously, you all enjoy it a little bit, being this harsh part of the most of you. Sorry, and the pundits are the former players. A lot of them forgot obviously completely how it felt when they get criticized, and especially the Neville brothers. And I have to say, really, the one who was the manager, he obviously should know that too much criticism never helps, but that he's not interested in helping a Liverpool player, I can imagine. So, but that makes the things he says gives them not more sense. Or he showed that he struggled with the job to judge players. Why we let them talk about players in television? I wouldn't. But the only thing I can do, I don't listen to them. That's the only thing. So, how is that? I'm pretty sure Cara don't speak too positive about Man United players. So, and obviously the Neville brothers don't like Liverpool. That's maybe, but I have no problem. And if they can cause bigger problems than we already have, I think they tried. That's all. Now you have your headline. Welcome. You should have asked the right question earlier. By the way, you can tell him I'm not on Twitter. So if you want to tell me something, Twitter doesn't help. Hopefully not. Sorry.
Jurgen Middlesbrough are obviously finding their feet back in the Premier League.
Finding their feet?
They've had some tough games. They gave Chelsea a good game. They drew at Manchester City. They lost, obviously, at the weekend, but I'm sure you'd be expecting a tougher game as you've had recently.
Unfortunately, very, very, very difficult to play side, because don't score a lot until now, but don't concede a lot. That's true. But football playing side, because quite skilled players. I said earlier this morning we made the opposition analyze, and it's really interesting to see what they are capable of, and so that's interesting challenge, I can say. So it's nothing. It's never easy in the Premier League, but this game, of course, is not easy. But we don't care too much. We take their skills, we take their qualities, we take their weaknesses only for analyze, and then we have to play our game. And if there's something we can use, we try to. That's all. But as a promoted team, maybe it's not that likely that you have this quality. That honestly, that's really good experience everywhere. Actually, that's a mixture of international experience and, if you want, kind of championship experience, where the players collect a lot of experience in the championship and then bring in. I don't know how often Valdez won the the Champions League, and all the offensive players. That's really quality. That's what you have to respect, not more. For me, it's important, and I think they played quite differently against a different side. So they're one moment they're real possession side. On the other hand side, against Arsenal and City, for example, they had only 20-something% of possession. So that's all part of the truth. They are flexible in the way they play, but always difficult to play. That at the end, they didn't collect 500 points with this. So that's another part of the truth. So we have to use our experience from the last few games and try to do better and win. At Middlesbrough, that's the plan, of course, because we tried all the time, and this time it didn't change.
It feels a little bit like the teams who come up now are better equipped, are stronger to adapt to life in the Premier League and to survive that first season, which obviously makes the division even tougher.
Although it would be a lie when I say I followed the complete season until now, Middlesbrough, but I had never the feeling they were completely out of the race. So that's what I can say. I think it's pretty normal that you have to adapt a little bit to the league, to the new circumstances and all that stuff. So I think it from outside it looked Middlesbrough is it's a serious club, but they know what they want, they know what they're able to do, and they will stay in the league at the end of the season. I think that's the main target, and so that will happen. I'm pretty sure. But if you ask me, it should happen without points from Liverpool. Well,
you mentioned last night and today about players becoming almost too offensive in their play when they get ahead. We all know how you want to play with that high tempo. Do you think they may be trying too hard to do that at times?
we are still on the way. So what can I say? We are still on the way. But I know that expectations are always that we do everything on the same level, in the same moment. But of course, that's what I said a few minutes ago. I thought it's a question of rhythm, and it's a question of balance. So and the rhythm is good, but the balance was not that good in the last two games in different moments. So, yesterday, who saw our offensive movements, patterns, however you want to say. The first goal was brilliant. We had two other situations where it was so quick that nobody could really follow. You need a replay for it, because of bam, 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 pass, free in the box. At the end, one time with Hendo, I don't know which was the other guy when we had the situation. So we are a good football playing side, but it's always about the balance between risk and protection, of course. And as I said, we have to adapt a little bit to the new lineup. That's how it is. It's now, the second time different in 2 weeks. A few weeks, or I don't know, 2 weeks ago we spoke about that we never changed didn't make a lot of changes. No, we made a lot of changes, but only because I forgot why. The thing is that we had to change it, and that we didn't. We did well, but not balance-wise, not well enough. So that's the thing what we took from these two games. That's why we had very good offensive moments, but not a perfect protection. Of course, we need to be protected, especially when you are in the lead. There's absolutely no reason for taking the highest risk. You still want to play with a clear direction, but not with 7 players in one row. That makes no sense. And we did it already better, and we have only to make this step, not back, aside, and do it again like this.
Ian, can you just give us some clarity on Marco Grujić's situation? Has he been involved recently?
It's a kind of where the tendon goes over the muscle. So it's kind of tendon injury, a little one, but means what they told me it was around about 3 weeks. So he's already on the way back, but not back. So it was not really to see when it happened. He trained normal, and then afterwards he felt a little bit, and then that was the diagnosis. And since then he's out.
And
how I said, it was a challenge with Divock in training. Knee on knee. But both trained on. Both could do the rest of the training. But I had a little bit more pain, so we looked a little bit more exact on it, and yeah, it was. How I said yesterday, I never heard about this ligament, but it's a little bit damaged. He's already on a good way. I'm not sure. He's in doubt for Wednesday, for the day after tomorrow, but I think Everton, he will be back sure, but would be cool if he could train tomorrow. We will see. It's painful, not really more.
Yeah, just update on Dale Lovren if you've got one. You know, obviously he went off at half time yesterday. Was it just cramp?
Hopefully, I don't know more in a moment. Yeah, it was cramp, and he would. He asked. He told me, I want to play, and I told him I want to play too. But since 20 years I can't. So it's not about what you want. It's what about is possible. And we made a decision together. It's better to take him off, but don't know more about him in a moment.
When the criticism is fair or not, it exists, the criticism is there, and the Carriers would know it's there. So how do you reassure them before Wednesday game, or what do you say to them?
Nothing what I could say here. Sorry. Did you really expect that I tell you what I will tell the player? That's a nice try. Yeah, next time, maybe. Well, good idea.